It is sad that I have to make this video, but I must. Because in the past 2 weeks, my perception of the country I live in has changed dramatically, and the catalyst was the Christchurch shooting. Before that calamitous event, I had a positive view of the authorities of my nation. I had a view that the authoritarian policies enacted in Europe to censor speech, bar expression, and the overall politicization of speech was limited solely to Europe, and that the culture war in the United States was isolated there, far away from New Zealand. However, when the Christchurch mosque attacks occurred, there was a reaction that I expected, and one that absolutely shocked me. After the attack, there was the expected condemnations, the aura of shock, and the outpour of love and condolences for those who lost their lives and who were traumatized by the events that occurred that night. This is what I expected from New Zealand. A loving nation with a loving response, and it's what was offered by New Zealanders. However, our government took a different approach, one that shocked me, as to how willing it was to exert the authoritarian powers that had apparently laid dormant in the depths of our law. Our government immediately made a push to ban semi-automatic rifles, a policy I feel is ill thought out and is ultimately a useless band-aid solution for the issues at hand, and a pathetic virtue signal to gain points with the general populace. And then there was the censorship. I would never have expected to see a headline declaring young men were facing years in jail for sharing a video. Because you see, our government has decided that nobody should see the video, the despicable crimes the shooter carried out, and the devastation he caused. They took action into their own hands and decided to bar anyone from seeing or spreading it under the threat of persecution. It's dystopian, to say the least, that the representative institutions of our nation deem that we don't have the right to see the video, that we can't make up our own minds whether we wish to view it. They decide to shelter us because it's not our place, apparently, to get a greater grasp of the damage this man has caused. Instead, you face years in prison. Any member of the public, shocked at what has occurred, persecuted for consumption. It's simply shocking. And with this I looked further, and discovered that a woman from Wairarapa was arrested on the basis of inducing racial disharmony. This flabbergasted me. I naively thought a dystopian phrase like this would only be read by me in relation to the United Kingdom. They describe it as an individual who publishes or distributes written matter which is threatening, abusive, or insulting to other people on the grounds of colour, race, ethnicity, or national origins. A fancy way to say that you've offended someone. And for that, you face 3 months in prison, or a $7,000 fine. I've become disillusioned with my utopia, and see it for what it has rapidly become in the span of several weeks. A raving mad, authoritarian dystopia, just like the rest.